Hello and welcome. In this video we're quickly going to look at how you can use the SSH command to run graphical commands remotely. I'm actually assuming you already have the basic knowledge of SSH necessary to run commands remotely with SSH. What we're going to see here is how we can tunnel X commands to a remote machine using an SSH connection. What this is going to allow us to do is interact with something as if it's on our local machine, but it's actually going to be running on a different machine. So we can use all the resources that are there, but get the graphical display of that on our current machine. And of course, by using SSH, we're taking advantage of the improved authentication and security that SSH provides. So in addition to using command line access, that is, SSHing to another machine and running a command, we can use the graphical Linux X window applications across the network. Now, normally there would be some graphical applications that are just insecure, unsecure. I can never remember which one of those is the right word to use in this particular context. So instead of running those commands directly, we call them through SSH and pass the information through this SSH connection in what's called an SSH tunnel. So this way we get the security and the encryption and the authentication provided by SSH, so we can use those host keys and user keys and all the improved authentication stuff we've already talked about, and use that to present a graphical display for this tool that we're running remotely. Theoretically, this means that information that we're passing across the network should be completely unreadable by anybody else. Now, I'm going to use a really simple Xwindow application here, gedit. Do feel free on your own to look up some other Xwindow applications that you could use. In order to run the commands remotely, we do have to create this SSH tunnel. So we will actually be running this command through SSH. So SSH using the typical username at machine, or of course if you're the same user on both machines, just SSH and the server, whether it's hostname or IP address. But we will need the options -x and -c. Well, we don't need -c, but it's a good idea. -x sets up this forwarding of this Xwindow information to allow us to transfer the graphical information between machines. -c just compresses it as it's being passed across the network. It means the application will be slightly more CPU intensive, but the information we're passing across the network will be reduced because it's compressed. And generally, you'll have more free CPU cycles than you will space on your network. Now, you could do this one of two ways. You can either set up the SSH tunnel like we do in this first example, so just SSH-x-c machine, and once you've logged in, then run your command, or use the availability of SSH to run commands on the remote machine and just do it in one step. So SSH-x to get that tunnel, -c to compress the traffic, username at server name or just server name, and the command that we want to run. Keeping in mind that is only going to work if that command is in your path variable. That is, you can run the command without needing to provide a full path. Just to be safe, you may want to use the absolute path to that command. Or, try it without the absolute path. If it works, great. If it doesn't, try it again with the absolute path. So to demonstrate this, I'm bringing up another machine, which I'm calling C8 Graphical. It's a CentOS 8 Stream graphical installation. And I'm going to use that to run gedit on my demo machine. So here I am, logged in, and we will SSH, tunnel, compress, demo, so connect to demo, and I want to run gedit. I authenticate, couple of error messages, but it still works. I now have this gedit window open, and it's really neat. It actually shows us in the top menu bar there that it's actually running on demo. And I can enter some text, whatever it is that I want to do with this application. I hit save. Save my file. Close my gedit. And if I take a look in my home directory, wait a second, it's not there. Because it wasn't on C8 Graphical. All of that happened on demo. Ta-da! So, what this quick lesson was about is how to tunnel commands through SSH. You can't do this with every command. It does require things specifically set up with X11. But when you do have a command that has that capability, this is a very useful way of making use of the resources of another machine and combining them with the security and authentication that we've already seen from SSH. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.